Mock draft 9.0. We'll end up doing 13 of these things, so we're 9 of 13. We're almost to the end. And this one, all 7 rounds, like they will all be the rest of the way, but this one features trades. I don't usually do trades in mock drafts, but I'm doing it today, so stay tuned as I move up and maybe down. We'll see. We'll see. All right, we'll go with pick number 13 first, and, well, folks, I'm going Will Johnson, the corner from Michigan, and I hate to do this. I really do. But if you are subscribed to the channel and watched last week's mock draft 8.0, you would know I drafted Will Johnson at pick number 13. What does that tell you with 1 month ago to go into the draft? I don't know what Miami is doing. I don't. But as my own personal opinion, if I was the GM of the Miami Dolphins, if Will Johnson is on the board at pick number 13, he is starting to become my number one guy. Now, if a player on the offensive line like Armand Membu or Will Campbell slid out of the top 10, top 11 or 12, and were on the board at pick 13, yes, those two would be higher on my board than Will Johnson. But in almost every mock draft I see, they are all going inside the top 12. So they're off the board in most scenarios like they were in this mock draft I did. So Will Johnson was on the board, and I'm taking him. And like I mentioned, make sure you're subscribed because in my last mock draft, I took Will Johnson 13th overall. And if you want more mock drafts, more NFL draft content on the Miami Dolphins, hit that sub button under a month ago. The reason why I'm starting to kind of zero in on Will Johnson, the corner from Michigan, is because CB2 is such a large need. And I know there's safety, there's left guard, there's defensive line, but I don't really love any of the defensive linemen on the board at 13. I like Kenneth Grant. I like Derrick Harmon, but at 13, I don't love that value. I love Malachi Starks and Jahdae Barron. They were actually off the board when I was picking here at number 13 in this specific mock draft, which is why I went with Will Johnson once again, because he fits both of your timelines. He fits your CB2 role right now, but he also has the capability of being an elite shutdown corner to where he can be your CB1 of the future and maybe even move Jalen Ramsey to safety potentially because he's done it prior, so maybe he could do it again in the future. I mean, look at his 2023 coverage stats as a member of the Wolverines. Unbelievable. Only played 6 games last year due to injury and kind of shut it down a little bit early. But man, Will Johnson to me would be just an elite pick at 13. It would give you a really good cover corner combination as well as a future at the position as well. Woo, 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 woo. Trade alert, trade alert. First trade here in this mock draft. We're going up, baby. And if you watched early in the week, we did a video and a little part of a show about what it would cost to trade up in the NFL draft. And I listed 5 prospects that I would trade up for from the second round to the first round. Well, this is what it would cost in the trade value chart. Your second round pick, your third round pick, and a future third round pick to go up 20 spots to get into the first round so you get a 5th-year option. And what am I taking with that 28th pick with the Lions? I'm going defensive line. I'm going Derrick Harmon, the defensive lineman from Oregon. And if you watched the show earlier in the week, I labeled 5 prospects as people I'd move up for. If Malachi Starks fell, Nick Emenwari fell, Kenneth Grant fell, Gray Zabel was available, the offensive line from North Dakota State, and my 5th was Derrick Harmon. Because to me, he provides everything you need to complement Zach Sealer. He can stop the run. He can get after the passer. He had 5 sacks, 55 pressures in 2024. He is a big fella that showcases some athleticism as well, something we know Chris Grier values because of what he took in 2018 when he selected Christian Wilkins. I think Derrick Harmon would be a very good complementary piece. Whether this is the defensive lineman starting opposite to Zach Sealer, or if this is the defensive lineman number 3 that's in rotation because you re-signed Calais Campbell. Either way, I would very much like to bring in Derrick Harmon if he was available late. I could say the same thing for Kenneth Grant. Now, in the specific mock draft, Kenneth Grant went 21-22, so he wasn't really available in that striking distance that I think Miami could look at, which is anywhere between 27 and 32. And getting the fifth-year option on Harmon could be valuable because if he ultimately is a stud, you see these defensive line contracts coming out, man, going 23, 24, 25, 30 plus $1 million. You get Harmon for 5 years on a good price. If he's that good, it could be a game-changing piece on your defense. But let me know your thoughts. Not on Derrick Harmon, but just let me know on trading up. Would you trade up from round 2 to round 1 to take a player that you like on your board? Type Y for yes or type N for no. Because we got rid of round 2 pick and we got rid of the 3rd round pick, our next selection comes in the 4th round, and I am addressing safety. Jonas Sanker, the safety/defensive back from Virginia, someone I've liked a lot in the middle rounds. Same thing could be said about Sebastian Castro, Andrew Makuba, whether it's the 3rd, 4th round kind of area for these safeties. Sanker got good size to him, 6 feet tall, 206 pounds, and tested relatively well at the NFL Combine, 8.95 RAS in total. But you see the 40-yard dash. Any safety that runs under a 4.5 is pretty solid to me. I love Malachi Starks. I think he's an absolute stud, and he's going to be a no-doubt good player in the NFL. But Sanker has a better 40-yard dash than Starks. Now, Starks probably moves better on the football field, but you also see the broad jump from Sanker, which is a true score in test of explosiveness. Good there, 9.21 grade. He was productive last year for the Cavaliers defense, both in the run game as well as pass coverage. And you look at the statistics here for 2024, according to Pro Football Focus, he had 98 tackles and a missed tackle percentage of 13%. Not the best, but it will play. For example, Nic Rohloff, the talented safety from South Carolina, had a missed tackle percentage of 7.2. That ranked top 15 in the country. Sanker was solid, and he's more of a cover safety, if you will. Gave about 60% completion percentage, only 2 touchdowns. QB rating when target of 87.6. This is why he's going in the 4th round and not in the 1st or 2nd round. Good ball player. I think he'd be able to come in and compete with Ashton Davis and Ifeatu Melifonwu for that number 1 safety / number 2 safety / number 3 safety spot. Sanker is someone I got my eyes on in the middle rounds. I'm going to go offense here. I'm going to go Pat Bryant. And I know some people in the chat might start saying, how have you not taken an offensive lineman yet? I understand it, but I addressed the 3 biggest defensive needs at corner, D-line, and safety with the first 3 picks. And I could not pass the value of Pat Bryant. I can't quit him. I'm sorry. There is one player that I am going to pound the fist, pound the table, and say this guy is not going to be taken early in the draft. It's going to be a middle round guy, but I think he's going to be really good in the NFL. It's Pat Bryant. I think he's just smooth. I can't quit him. I want him to be a Dolphin. He was very productive for Illinois last season, almost 1,000 yards, had 10 touchdowns. He's got excellent size to him, similar to Nick Westbrook-Akini, who you signed for ANC, 6'2". He's 204 pounds. And the reason why I love Pat Bryant is because he likes to block. He had a quote at the NFL Combine that when they asked him about his mentality as a wide receiver, he answered it by saying, no block, no rock. I mean, come on. You know you need to be able to block as wide receiver position to fit in this Dolphin system. I think he's fluid in terms of his route running as well. I've seen people compare him to Jacoby Myers. Jacoby Myers has carved out one hell of a career in the NFL. He was an undrafted free agent when he originally came out of New England, and now he's a wide receiver 1/2 in Las Vegas. Man, I know you have a good group in Westbrook-Akini, Waddle, Malik Washington, Hill, but Hill is on a probable last year of his contract. Westbrook-Akini is an older guy. Bryant could come in and maybe just dominate in training camp and fill out a bigger role. I like Pat Bryant so much. All right, we're going to get to some more picks here, but we are sponsored by Prize Picks, the #1 daily fantasy sports platform that I play every day. It's so easy to play. All you do is pick more or less on 2 or more player stat projections for a chance to win up to 1,000 times your cash. And right now is the best time to get started because you can combine player projections from so many different sports, whether it's baseball starting up this week, basketball, both collegiate and professional, hockey, esports, and much more. They also offer Venmo, Apple Pay, MasterCard for quick and easy deposits into your account this season. They have weekly promotions that can lead to big payouts like Taco Tuesday each Tuesday, prize picks discounts, select player projections up to 25% to provide even more value for your lineups. Baseball has officially gotten underway. Opening day was Thursday. We'll have a good look at how these three will perform this season. More than Paul Skeens, 215.5 pitcher strikeouts. More than Derrick, 204.5 strikeouts. And more than Jarren Duran, 17.5 home runs. Just one example there. But you can also get started with basketball postseason heating up. Download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. One more time, download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize picks. Run your game. All right, we have 2 fifth-round picks practically next to each other in the 5th round, 150 and 155. I'm going 2 offensive linemen here. Hey, I know some of you probably don't like that I'm waiting this long to take offensive linemen, but I'm throwing multiple darts at the board at the 5th round selections. Luke Kandra from Cincinnati and Colby from Iowa. And I want to look at these two side by side. Kandra had the better 2024 campaign, but I'll never bet against an Iowa offensive lineman. I'm sorry, I just won't. Kandra actually was pretty solid in the Big 12 for the Bearcats. Graded out really well for Pro Football Focus. Didn't allow a sack. Colby in the Big 10 didn't have as much success. Better run blocker than he is a pass blocker, which doesn't surprise me because, well, we know Iowa football. They like to run it much more than they like to pass it. Allowed a couple sacks, 6 hurries. Either way, the idea and thought process behind this here by taking 2 fifth-round offensive linemen, maybe they become starters, maybe they don't. But at least you will have 2 guys coming here in the middle round that will compete for a role that could either back up a veteran like Brandon Scherf or compete to be a starting guy with Liam Eichenberg. I know it's a disaster to think that way, but it's definitely possible that Chris Grier addresses the offensive line in this way. 2 shots with Kandra and Colby. Trade alert, trade alert, trade alert. We're moving up again. We don't have a 6th-round pick this year. I want one. I traded our 2026 6th-round pick, so I'm sending out 2026 6th and a 2026 3rd-round pick in this mock draft to get a couple selections here. Pair that up with a pair of 7th-round picks, a comp pick you got from Deshaun Elliott, and a 7th-round pick you got actually from the Chase Claypool trade, funny enough, to move into the 6th round to pick 187. That player, going quarterback, Rourke, the QB from Indiana, someone that we have talked about on the channel in the past. I think Rourke can be a solid developmental guy. When I watched him at Indiana this past season, I like the way he spin the rock, man. He's got a decent arm. It just comes out of his hands easy. He was very accurate when placing the football. He thrived on back shoulder throws in that Indiana scheme. But another reason why I like him, his size, man. 6'5", 223. I could just picture him being a really good developmental piece to where he comes in potentially in training camp, almost at spring training, got baseball in the mind, and runs that offense good. Not mobile, dealt with a lot of injuries in college, but when you think about the Dolphins' awesome, it's quick hitting passing, it's throwing over the middle of the field, and it's the RPO scheme. Well, if you're 6'5", and you quick trigger throw here in the over the middle of the field slants, these out routes, having that release point be high and being able to see over the offensive line, defensive line, and linebackers is a very valuable trait to be had. So that is kind of why I think Rourke fits this group really well. He's accurate. The arm is solid, just not mobile and has an injury history, but as a pocket quarterback, could be very solid. I like him as a developmental guy. That's why I traded up to go get him. But let me know your thoughts. I know a lot of Dolphins fans, including myself, want the Dolphins to draft a quarterback to be a developmental 3rd guy. But what round should it be in? Should you do it in the 2nd or 3rd round and go with a Jackson Dart, a Jalen Milroe, a Quinn Ewers? Or should they wait later and go Dylan Gabriel, go Tyler Shuck, go Kurtis Rourke? Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section. All right, we're going to round this mock draft out with a 7th-round tight end selection. Oronde Gadsden II, tight end from Syracuse. And that name might sound familiar. We'll explain why in just a second. But this is a big-bodied tight end, man. 6'4" and change, 243. Was very productive for the Orangemen last season. One of Kyle McCord's favorite targets over the middle of the field. 73 receptions for almost 1,000 yards. Reached pay dirt 7 times as well. I actually really like him as a potential late round tight end option. My 2 favorite tight end options in the 7th round or / UDFA possibilities, Gadsden and Bryson Nesbitt from North Carolina. But the reason why I went with Gadsden in this one, I said the name might sound familiar. Well, if you're an OG, his father played for the Dolphins. So could be a connection there. I know there's people talking about going with Mason Taylor, the tight end from LSU, because of his dad, Jason Taylor, being a Dolphins legend on the defensive line. But another one here, potentially with Gadsden, tight end, could be a lot of fun to bring him in. Compete to make this roster potentially good size, good pass catcher, just a late dart throw here as a potential option. All right, that'll do it for this episode, this mock draft 9.0. Get down in the comment section. Let me know how I did. But also make sure you subscribe for more because we're releasing weekly mock drafts every week until the NFL draft in late April. We'll also have you updated with every Dolphins draft visit, draft rumor that comes out over the next month. So hit that sub button because no other channel that you will want.